there, and welcome to another edition of What's the Word? I'm Tom Malone. I'm joined by Shane Mann from Ladbrokes, Brendan Duke in midfield, and Johnny Ward beside me as well.
Behind the striker job.
Yeah. You're number 10. I'd say you're probably number 10. Looking forward to the Aintree Grand National. Earliest Grand National memory? Shane, we'll start with you.
Well, I've only ever been fortunate enough to back the winner on one occasion, Tom. That was Hedge Hunter back in the day. Previous to that, maybe Papillon. That was a fairly significant winner at the time for Ted Walsh and Ruby Walsh. Landed a bit of a touch in the process as well. I think he went off very short on the day. But Papillon probably the earliest memory for me, yeah.
Brendan?
I think I have a vague recollection of Hello Dandy winning. I would have been 7 at the time.
Okay.
I was a slow developer. But I think I basically remember watching that at home.
Johnny,
made up for it since anyway.
Yeah.
Would have to be Bobby Joe.
Bobby Joe, man.
He was paraded in my secondary school. I had no interest in horses at the time. Simpler times.
I remember this. Bobby Joe is the reason you're here, basically, isn't it? No, you're blaming Bobby Joe for it.
No, but
effectively.
I was in secondary school and he was owned in Montbellier, which was my local town.
Yeah.
His owner's brother ran the bar that I had my first few pints in back in the day, about half a lifetime ago. And he was a great horse for the area. There's still a statue of him in the town, and a few people have gotten up in the statue on frosty nights and have literally needed to be with Garda help to get off because they got stuck to it.
Oh, right, okay.
Not me though.
Fair enough.
No, actually, it hasn't happened to me, genuinely.
Really?
No, it hasn't happened.
Okay.
But if you ever go to Montbellier, the statue of Bobby Joe is the most kind of iconic aspect of the town now.
And he'd be your favourite. He'd be your favourite
my earliest memory. My favourite will probably be. I liked Hedge Hunter win it actually. Because
watched the replay there last week. Jeez, he won easy,
bolted up. Yeah, I remember Paddy Mullen saying on the day, I thought he was an even money shot.
Well, he was travelling very well up until. Did he come down?
He fell at the
previous
year.
year.
I backed him that year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
your favourite Grand National winner, Brendan?
I was thinking about this, but probably Rough Quest, because they were simpler times, Tom, and I thought I knew everything there was to know about racing, and he was very well handicapped, and a little bit like Hedge Hunter. You could call him the winner all the way, travelled well, jumped well, and bolted up. So
it was easier back then.
It was easier back then.
Yeah. Shane, your favourite Grand National winner?
Oh, Hedge Hunter was my own, so that's a easy answer there. The only time I ever backed the winner of the National. So.
Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. What do you look for in a Grand National winner, Johnny? When you're
it's very hard now, because if you look at the race tomorrow, for example, you need a horse that can probably lie up, that can jump these idiosyncratic fences and stays 4 miles and 2 on soft to heavy, but has a bit of toe as well. It's very, very difficult. I'm not sure why I'm here, actually.
Brendan, what do you look for primarily when you want that Grand National?
Stamina. I basically start and stop with stamina. I tried to find a horse that'll stay. It is a savage test, and it's become an even more savage test. Because back in the day with Hedge Hunter, they used to hack around for the first circuit perfectly sensibly, but they don't do that anymore. Yeah,
the early pace of the race is phenomenal, isn't it, these days? That charge to the first. And how do you prefer them to be campaigned? I mean, a while ago they used to really protect the handicap mark, but they seem to...
Well, now you want to get into the race as well.
Yeah, you can't get into the race if you try.
I'm not sure I'm a big fan of this compression into making it into this really classy race. Like, I don't think that's what it was. It was a kind of a madcap... I mean... When Bobby Joe won it, I think he was like a stone out of the handicap. Can you imagine that happening now?
Yeah.
Like, well, it might happen.
Well,
you wouldn't get in.
On Wednesday, the 40th on the list was Road to Riches. He was placing 2 Gold Cups and won a Grade 1. I bought 40th on the list.
I don't see this race as a race for, like, you know, retired Grade 1 horses or anything like that. It's a race, should be a race for
the quality has gone up an awful lot in recent years.
Has it made it a better race as a kind of I suppose as a philosophy? Maybe, I'm not sure it has, and it's hard now for the smaller trainers as well. You will find that again, like the Irish National, it's dominated by maybe a few. Anyway.
But that's the thing. You just need that classier horse to get into it. Right, let's look ahead to the race. Shane, give us a run through the prices there.
Yeah, just before I do, Tom, don't forget we are paying that extra place at a quarter of the odds. 5 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at a quarter of the odds in the big one on Saturday, 5:15. The last check, Cofavs each of 4 at the top of the betting. Black Lion, Annabelle Fly, Tiger Roll, and Total Recall, all at 10 to 1. See you at Midnight's been backed earlier on this morning, 14 to 1, 16 to 1, The Last Samurai. By the Zeal, much talked about horse in the press this week, is at 16 to 1, 20 to 1, Uccello Conti, along with I Just Know, Captain Redbeard, and it's 25 bar.
Cool. Brendan, who's the stamina laden one you're going to go for then?
I think See You at Midnight is stamina laden. I'm not sure he'll definitely stay, but he stayed 4 miles pretty well as an 8-year-old in the Scottish National. He's a 10-year-old now. He's only had 4 runs since, so he's actually off the same mark as when 3rd in that Scottish National. He's a good jumper. He stays. He's got Brian Hughes, who I think is a big asset in this race. and I thought he was handicapped to win.
Yeah. Johnny, yours?
Yeah, he's one of the better handicapped horses in the race. I wonder would Brian Hughes, if he knew nothing about the horse and there were no instructions, would he drop him in?
He could still drop him in.
Do you think he will?
Oh yeah, I don't think Brian Hughes gets instructions. He's just go out.
I'd say he will on him though, will he?
No, I'd say riders. There's no point in there's no point in having a dog and barking yourself, John. He's the big dog.
He is.
Yeah.
He's genuinely one of the top riders.
He's a
one of the
class
top
rider,
riders.
you know, and
Brilliant, to be honest.
it'd be great for County Armagh where he's from, where to win the race. I like him as a chance, but I think Tiger Roll has no chance.
Well
Black
backed
Line,
all week. Well supported all week.
Can't have him at all.
Yeah, it's gone, yeah.
Black Line, I don't think he's going to get home now with the ground because I watched him last year. He did everything right. Maybe took it up a bit too early, but didn't get home. And now Hedge Hunter was a similar story, and then they rode him more conservatively. But the ground as it is now, it's too much of a question mark. I think Uccello Conti could run well, but my selection is Total Recall. What can you say about him this year? You know, he's been beaten once when he fell. He wasn't out of it when he fell. Annabelle Fly was closing on Might by quite drastically at the line. Was Total Recall travelling better than Annabelle Fly, or at least as well as him? I think he was. He's probably well handicapped, but you need a lot of things to go right. Will he jump well enough? Who knows? But I think this has been his plan for some time, and he's trained by Willie.
Where do you think Paul will settle him earlier?
I'd say he'd be fairly handy, like, you know, but first 10 or 12, like, but he does
have to get round.
He does have to get home, though.
He
He does have to get home. You know, he hasn't gone this trip before, and it's soft ground. Like, he's not certain to get home. In fact, when he joined Willie, he wasn't certain he'd get 3 miles. So, like, you know,
he was going to get 4 mile too.
Yeah, I think he will, but at the same time, you know, you can't just go handy for the sake of it, just so you've got it in a posse. Like, you're better off just riding a bit for luck if it's going to be a real war of attrition.
Let's get some selections right. I'm going to give you 2 selections each because it is the Grand National. Go on, Shane, start with you.
Yeah, I'm very much in the Total Recall camp along with Johnny. I think he's only, was it 9 pounds higher for his win in the Ladbrokes Trophy at the beginning of the season at Newbury as well. And as you mentioned, was travelling really well until coming down 3 from home in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. He is 10 to 1 at the moment. One at a massive price now and taking a complete flyer with this, Tom. Lord Windermere hasn't won a race since the infamous Gold Cup in the stewards' room with Davy Russell winning by a head, beating on his own on that occasion. Was actually 7th in the race last year, pulled up the previous year where Manny Clouds won it. I think he's 17 pounds below that mark when he ran, and he was pulled up in the race that Manny Clouds won. 7th last year, as I mentioned. He's 3 pounds lower than the race last year. Lightly campaigned this time around as well. Was 7th in the Beach in December as well. Or sorry, he was a faller in the Beach, I should say, when he came down at the 10th very early on, but was still travelling well. So it's 66 to 1 at a massive price.
Okay. Lord Windermere and Total Recall. Brendan?
Well, see you at midnight for the reasons I mentioned. And I'll also take a flyer on Maggio for the extra places. He's not a guaranteed stayer, and he's 13, so that's not ideal. But he is 66 to 1. I could see him running into a place.
Johnny?
Like, there are hardly any guaranteed stayers in the race, you have to say. There maybe a handful. One of them is Raz de Marie. I'm going to put him up as an each way. I spoke to Gavin Cromwell when he was getting the boat yesterday. He was just about to have a McDonald's. So hopefully things are going to get better for him over the weekend. Because this horse has a chance on the ground. Welsh national winner, stays all day. Not the biggest, but you don't have to be huge to jump these fences anymore. And my original selection, Total Recall.
Good stuff. And I go Uccello Conti and also Raz de Marie, actually. Right, let's move on to the rest of Saturday. We're going to have to actually fly through this because the Grand National sort of eats
Dukey
everything
wants
else.
to go to Naas.
And Dukey wants to get to Naas. Right, start off with the Mersey Novice Hurdle. One would like to Finian's Oscar in York Hill in the past. Shane, quick ones for prices there.
Just a few tissue prices at the moment, Tom. Black Ops 7 to 4, roughly 5 to 2 on the blind side. Around about 9 or 10s about Western Rider. 10s Mamela. Lost in translation will be about 16s and 20s bar.
Brendan, selection in this?
On the blind side. He was
I know you're in a rush, but geez, something.
Not a bad price, Dukey, actually.
I think a very fair price. He was a revelation. The race he won at Cheltenham has worked out perfectly well, and he was completely clueless in the race. But then the transformation to Sandown, where he travelled and jumped and looked at a completely different horse, that Sandown race has worked out really well. You'd have to respect Black Op. He has got good form. But I think this on the blind side is a proper horse. I think he'll win.
Johnny, would you be with?
I'm with him as well. Black Op did run at Cheltenham, obviously behind Sam Crow. That's generally a negative coming to Aintree. But Tom George's horses, it was pointed out at a preview panel we were on the other night, late March, early April, they bombed. Now, it might just be coincidence, but none of them, you could say, ran particularly well. Bit of a worry. And on the blind side, you know, he's a very good horse. I would favour him at the prices. Could see him going off favourite.
At 3 o'clock, we got that Novices Chase, the Jim Barmagold Novices Chase.
Go and Collect.
Go Collect.
Go and Collect.
Who is it?
home. What do they say? Gone by.
Gone by.
Petit Mouchoir has to win this. Basically, forget about Cheltenham. It was an absolute shambles, really, an absolute shambles the way that race worked out. Probably the worst ride Davy's given a horse, and he knows himself. It just went completely haywire. I'm not sure why it happened, but anyway, ride him optimally, he wins.
Yeah. Do you disagree? You anti-Petit Mouchoir?
I'm not anti-Petit Mouchoir. He'll have to be some tough horse, though, because it did, as Johnny says, it all go Pete Tong and Cheltenham. And it depends how he's recovered from this. I mean, you're looking at 4 to 7. I think I could pass at that. Shantou Rock missed Cheltenham, so he'd be fresh for this. He's probably the second highest rated in the horse after the Mooch. In fact, he definitely is. And he was second on his last 2 runs, but beaten by 2 useful sorts. I thought he was a fair price in the race.
On to the Stairs Hurdles, one with some really decent sorts in the past. There was big bucks on 4 occasions. Shane, how's the market look for this?
Yeah, another small field here, Tom. But Sam Spinner will be hot enough property here, around about 11 to 8, due to go off for the Stairs Hurdle of 420. Holstone 3 to 1. The World's End around 7s, and 14s about Identity Thief and All Guard.
Who can you be with Sam Spinner in these conditions?
I mean, he'll probably be given a more aggressive ride, which'll help. But
that was strange to Cheltenham, wasn't it?
It was a curious ride, but he's kind of priced up like the ride was everything. Whereas Holstone, he just continued on his consistently progressive curve, didn't he? He could easily progress again here, and he's going to go close, Holstone. I wouldn't have him twice the price of Sam Spinner. I'll go for him at 3 to 1.
Yeah, Johnny.
I'm with Sam Spinner. I think there was a massive discrepancy in their price at Cheltenham. The race didn't go particularly to plan for him. I think his jockey was a little bit unfairly criticised, because I don't think whatever way they rode him that day, he'd have beaten the Stairs with speed, as Dermot Well might say, in Super Sunday and Penhill, who were very good horses. And simple as he was only beaten 5 or 6 lengths. The ground will be a lot softer tomorrow, and I think he'll go gate to wire, as they say. They probably won't in the commentary, though.
No, they probably won't. Leopardstown, by the way, on Saturday.
What a belter of a card.
What a brilliant card. What terrible scheduling. But look, we'll start with the 210, the Bylynch Lud.
Is there something else on?
What is? I don't know. This is an absolutely brilliant card. 2,000 guineas trial. What, does only 4 go to post, Shane?
Yeah, just the 4 in this one, Tom.
4 though.
Yeah, you'd imagine Gustav Klimt would be very short here, around about 6 to 4, about 130 about Kenya. US Navy flag 9 to 2, 5 to 1 territory, and about 7's about Imaging. Just the 4, don't forget. So short.
Brendan, it's always tricky when you have like Aidan O'Brien running his first time out, but I don't know, Kenya just on a soft ground. He's so impressive last year.
So impressive. I'm not sure he relished that ground when he won at the back end in Leopardstown, but the horse he beat at Ger Lines, I've high hopes for him. He might have a tactical edge here. I thought he was the one to make the run, and you're guessing with Aidan's how forward they are, what have you, but I think I'll have something on Kenya, slave to the aesthetic that I am.
Absolutely. And who do you think will turn out to be the best of those 4, perhaps, ultimately?
Tough question.
I think Kenya. I think if Kenya lives...
You have been... you are the Kenya fan club.
Well, if he lives up to his looks, he wins it all.
Okay. Johnny?
Yeah, I think he's a very good horse. 7 furlongs is not going to be ideal for him. He definitely wants a mile and 2 this year. I'm actually with Imaging here, who maybe the outsider on the year. I don't think he's going to go off outsider. Produced a remarkable turn of foot at Cork. It was really insane.
Yes, absolutely.
Declan McDonough rode it almost like a non-trier, and like a furlong and a half down, still hadn't gotten after it. I think the winner went 102 or something in running, and was ultimately well beaten.
He was stuffed.
And I think the son of Oasis Dream obviously handles the ground.
He has an enormous knee action as well. He will eat the ground,
and he has a fitness edge on horses that are not going to be fully fit. US Navy flag probably can't win on this ground. Gustav Klimt, Kenya. These are 3 proper classic horses in the making. Imaging isn't, I think, but I think he can win this.
Gustav Klimt, of course, he got badly hampered the last day at Newmarket as well, and still won Shea Causley, shall we say.
Was favoured for the due horse up until he didn't run, right good horse.
Really, really good card. The 1,000 guineas trial, Shane said, it's a much deeper affair.
And another very hard race to price up as well, Tom. I mean, what do you say? I Can Fly possibly to go off favoured around about 11 to 4, 4 to 1. Alpha Centauri, Actress is in there around 5s. 6 is Yulon Golf Ferry, 8 Sarachi, Who Steps 10s, and any price you like the rest.
Of the fillies, Brendan, anything standing out here?
Well, the interesting angle here is how effective horses have had a run previously have been in previous years. So I wouldn't say Dianthus, although she looks to have no chance on ratings, I'd say she'll outrun her rating against fillies that'll come on for this, but still, surely something in here to beat her. Maybe the Yulon Gold Fairy backed her off the boards in that sales race in Naas last year, like she was a stakes filly, won like a stakes filly. Dermot would probably have her more forward than Aidan's.
Nice
band.
bit of plotting as well to pick up a good prize.
A good
to
prize,
win
but
that race
it
as
could well be a stakes filly. We'll love the ground. I think I'd go for her.
Yeah, Johnny?
I'm the same. Big fan of Mount Nelson as a stallion. A lot of them really, they have a good attitude, but a lot of them go on this ground, and this one doesn't have a fitness edge. But Dermot's horses are in good shape. Actually, started the season well.
Yeah.
Obviously, our thoughts are with Pat Smullen, but this would be a nice one for Lee Roach. This time of year, generally, you want to be opposing Aidan's horses first time out, I think.
Yes, absolutely, and the stats will surely back that up. The Ballysack Stakes, quickly, obviously one would like to rekindling in Harzan the last couple of years. It's brilliant, isn't it?
What a race this is. I mean, Nelson.
Oh, sorry, it's time for you to take out your Pentagon drum. And
but I mean, interestingly, I mean, Nelson got beaten at odds on in the last tape. He got beaten by Roaring Lion. It's a serious bit of form. Again, he might have a tactical edge, and by Frankel should appreciate the step up and trip, but not as much as the Pentagon. The Pentagon is just going to be a different animal this year with a winter on his back and an extra 2 furlongs. It wins the Derby, hopefully.
You'll be the first person through the gate in Leopardstown on Saturday, standing there at the parade and waiting to see him come out.
I'm very excited about this card, yeah.
And do you think the Pentagon wins on Saturday?
I do.
Yeah, Johnny?
Yeah, I thought he ran an absolute blinder in the Racing Post Trophy. Again, the proviso is first time out for Aidan. Nelson doing his bit for Frankel, one of the few Frankels that Aidan has. He was really progressive. I liked him as a 2-year-old. Whether I'd need to know prices, but
It'd be a shade of odds on. I have him here 4 to 5.
Yeah.
So the Pentagon.
I would just say though briefly, I know Dukey wants to get off. What are you backing in the first, by the way? This good thing at Naas. This will be in hindsight now. Will it have won?
I won't be having a bet. I'll be driving 2 Naas while that's going on. But I might make the second if you hurry up.
3 Camelots in the finale.
Yes, I know. Latrobe, who I've also backed for the Derby.
Winners after the fact. But these are proper trials actually at Leopardstown. That Guineas trial was a non-event in many respects.
Previously, yes.
They've dropped it back to 7 furlongs. The 2 trials now are proper trials, and Aidan O'Brien made a big fist of that actually in an interview a month ago or so with the Racing Post. So great racing at Leopardstown.
Sorry, who wins the Ballysack Stakes?
The Pentagon.
Okay. Right, let's move on to our best bets of the weekend. Of course, reminders are Ladbrokes Go best odds guaranteed in shops from 12 till 2 now since they changed the old clocks. So let's get some best bets of the weekend. Your best bet of the weekend. Shane, we'll start with you. And we're going to want a multiple.
Best bet for me is going to be Black Up in the novice race, and then to make up the treble, Total Recall in the national, and I think Gustav Klimt will be very hard to beat in the Guineas trial at Leopardstown.
Brendan, best bet of the weekend?
Best bet of the week on the blind side, 225 at Aintree. I'll stick it in a Trixie with Holstone in the 420 and see what Midnight in the big one.
Good stuff. Johnny?
I'm actually going to give Imaging at the prices, as I think he'll be underrated in the market. And then at Aintree, probably on the blind side, I think.
And one for the national?
Total Recall, but it's mad that the race that most people bet on is probably the worst betting race. One of the worst betting races there is, I think. I mean, 40 runners, soft ground, possible hangover. A lot of things to get through.
Guaranteed. Right, and I'm going to go for Kenya in the 2000 Guineas trial, Alpha Centauri in the 1000 Guineas trial, and Uccello Conti in the big one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week for more. What's the word? Even not for that.
Dukey, you should be already running off at this stage.
Go, Dukey, go.